If Hong Kong had its own Charlie Chaplin, that person would be Stephen Chow. Born into a poor family, he faced hardships early on, including his parents' divorce. However, he found passion in watching Bruce Lee's films and learning martial arts, which led him to pursue a career in acting. It wasn't an easy path for him. He spent a decade-long journey as an extra, but he did not give up. Finally, in 1986, he was officially transferred to TVB's drama department, where he gradually gained opportunities to showcase his unique acting style. With the recognition of key figures and the support of friends, he quickly rose to prominence in Hong Kong's film industry. His nonsensical comedy style pioneered a new approach to performance in the Chinese-language comedy scene, much like Mr. Bean's slapstick did in the West. Through laughter and satire, he brought the struggles of the lower class, the twists and turns of life, and the indomitable Hong Kong spirit to the big screen, presenting stories with tragic cores in a comedic fashion. From 1988 to 1994, Stephen starred in average 5 films per year. But after 1995, everything changed. A series of box office flops, his company's bankruptcy, and personal setbacks forced him to reflect. He transitioned from actor to director, diving deeper into storytelling. It was a reinvention, not just of his career, but of his entire approach to filmmaking. The 1999 movie King of Comedy, directed and starred in by Stephen, is a classic comedy film. The protagonist, Tin Sao, is a grassroots actor aspiring to become a movie star. Although passionate about his craft, studying acting theories, and actively seeking opportunities, reality constantly frustrates him. This character is actually a reflection of Stephen's personal experiences. The recurring lunchbox scenes in the film are deliberately arranged by Stephen. In Hong Kong film productions, large quantities of lunchboxes are provided for cast and crew, and in Chinese-speaking culture, receiving a lunchbox metaphorically signifies either losing a job or a character's death. In the film, each lunchbox represents a lesson learned. Through 6 lunchbox-related scenes, Stephen illustrates his own growth journey, while also expressing his regrets about past relationships through the portrayal of Wan Tin Sao and Lao Piu Piu. At the beginning of the film, Tin Sao is an unknown extra working at a welfare center. This mirrors Stephen's early days in the film industry, where he played minor roles with only a few seconds of screen time and no lines. Tin Sao eventually pleads his way into a filming opportunity. However, his insistence on adding unnecessary acting elements causes the scene to be reshot. This angers the director, and Tin Sao is expelled from the scene. The director vows never to hire him again. When the female lead, Do Gwyn-yi, reprimands him for wasting film, money, and the crew's efforts, Tin Sao remains indifferent. Back at the welfare center, residents complain about his inattentiveness. Yet, Tin Sao is preoccupied with making phone calls about job opportunities, never considering others' needs. Through this sequence, Stephen reflects on his own selfishness and lack of teamwork in his early career. When he lived in his own world, solely focused on securing acting roles. Consequently, in the film's storyline, Tin Sao loses his first lunchbox. There are several interesting details here. Aunt Ha, who helps introduce Tin Sao to set work, was actually a student from Stephen's acting training class. The church and pigeons in the film pay homage to John Woo's The Killer. As for the exaggerated director character, whether it is satire or tribute, is left to your own interpretation. Jackie Chan made a cameo in the film, demonstrating how to professionally act out a death scene for Tin Sao. Similarly, Stephen made a cameo in one of Jackie's films as a comedic police officer. Their mutual cameos arose because both were filming in Sai-Kong at that time, and out of boredom, they decided to have each other guest star in their movies. The funny thing is, the stagehand in Stephen's movie and the dog in Jackie Chan's movie are both called Sunny. After his first failed performance, Tin Sao returns to his mundane life at the welfare center. Many supporting characters are introduced at this point. The 3 street thugs, nightclub dancer Lao Piu Piu, Bobby Yip, and Feng Mon-hun, who later plays Piu's ex-boyfriend. Many of these actors were personally discovered by Stephen, including Cecilia Chung, who made her film debut in King of Comedy. Furthermore, these actors were multi-talented, often working in multiple capacities. For example, Feng Mon-hun was one of the film's screenwriters, while Tin Kai-mun served as the film's production coordinator. Tin Sao remains undeterred and shamelessly returns to the set to seek another opportunity. Due to a prop issue, he lands the role of a corpse. Even when the set falls into chaos due to an insect infestation, he remains motionless. This earns him appreciation. However, his clumsiness triggers a series of accidents, ultimately sending Gwyn-yi flying out the window. Tin Sao flees the scene with panic and steals a lunchbox. At this point, Stephen reflects on his past lack of responsibility. Having made mistakes, he avoided confronting them and instead sought easy gains. He also held a long-standing belief that acting is the most important thing. Thus, in the film, Tin Sao fails to obtain his second lunchbox, which is instead taken by the undercover cop played by Wu Mon Tut and fed to a dog. This sequence of Tin Sao playing a corpse is inspired by a real event from the filming of Hail the Judge. Actor Tin Kai Moon played a corpse and impressed Stephen with a similar line. Tin Kai Moon later secured numerous roles in Stephen's films, including his role in King of Comedy. Before playing a dead body, there is an interesting conversation between the stagehand and Tin Sao. He says if it was 2 years ago, he would have killed Tin Sao with a knife. This film was shot in 1999, and here Stephen is subtly hinting at the infiltration of the Hong Kong underworld into the film industry during the 1990s, as well as reflecting on his past experiences with people who once supported him, but later became his enemies. Back to the movie, Tin Sao meets a nightclub hostess named Pew Pew. In order to earn more tips, she approaches Tin Sao to seek advice on acting. Initially, Pew looks down on Tin Sao and does not agree with his approach to acting. However, during an accidental job, she uses the techniques Tin Sao taught her to successfully handle a client. Pew went back to ask Tin Sao to teach her more acting skills. Over time, she is gradually impressed by Tin Sao's sincerity and hard work. This marks the beginning of the romantic storyline between these two characters. Many people believe that Pew is actually based on Stephen's ex-girlfriend, Jacqueline Law. Jacqueline was Stephen's first girlfriend after he entered the entertainment industry. She gave him tremendous encouragement when he was still unknown, and the two even considered marriage. However, Stephen ultimately chose his career, and with his mother's opposition, they broke up in 1992. Afterwards, Stephen has spoken on many occasions about his nostalgia and regret for this relationship, and he included his longing for Jacqueline in his films. In the movie, many of the dialogues between Pew and Tin Sao mirror the lines Stephen shared with Jacqueline in their past films. Stephen even dedicates a 7-minute scene to portray this relationship, which we will analyze in detail later. Through his experience with Pew, Tin Sao realizes that not only should he seek opportunities in the film industry, but he can also help others. He begins to work as an acting consultant, offering guidance to some small-time thugs. The scene he instructs the thugs on how to collect protection money is quite interesting. Initially, the thugs tell the stagehand that they are collecting protection money because they see people filming a movie. This once again alludes to the historical infiltration of the Hong Kong underworld into the film industry. The actor playing the character Torday, named Gay Gore, was actually a former member of the underworld and one of the 13 typo in Siwan Shan. He appeared in several of Stephen's films. Tin Sao returns to the film set to seek acting opportunities again. And this time, he is given a chance to be the stand-in for Gwyn Yi, playing a character whose hand are burned. Due to the director's delay, Tin Sao cannot withstand the high temperature and ends up ruining the scene. Before leaving the set, he still wants to get the lunchbox that is owed to him. This time, Tin Sao completely angers the undercover cop, who scolds him for not being qualified to eat the lunchbox. The undercover cop criticizes Tin Sao for always pretending to be smart, teaching people how to act, discussing theories, advising others on playing gangsters, collecting protection fees, and essentially insulting the very concept of acting. This scolding from the undercover cop marks the shift in the movie's tone from comedic to serious. The message here is that an actor must be well-rounded in both character and skill. Because of his character flaws, Tin Sao fails to get his third lunchbox. The argument between Tin Sao and the undercover cop is a tribute to the famous dialogue between the coach and Rocky. Subtextually, Stephen is expressing gratitude to his longtime collaborator, Wu Mon Tut. The two had been working together since 1989 and were one of Hong Kong's most beloved on-screen pairs, despite growing apart later on. After this conversation, Tin Sao begins to reflect on himself. He starts to think about how he can use his acting skills to help others. At the same time, his relationship with Pew takes a major turn. One night when Tin Sao is rehearsing for a stage play, Pew comes to support him. The play is Fist of Fury, and since Stephen is a fan of Bruce Lee, he takes the opportunity in this play within a play to showcase his martial arts. If you pay attention to the couplet behind the stage, it expresses Stephen's gratitude for his mother, who raised him with great effort. The elderly grandmother role in the play is likely a projection of Stephen's feelings toward his mother. After the rehearsal, the two chat intimately by the beach, and this scene pays homage to the popular 90s Japanese drama Long Vacation. Tin Sao tells Pew the beach will be beautiful after dawn. What Stephen is trying to say here is that even if you have nothing right now, it doesn't mean you won't have a bright future ahead. The relationship between Pew and Tin Sao quickly heats up. After spending a romantic night together, Stephen uses incredibly delicate transitions and composition to bring the audience's emotions to their peak. Tin Sao, knowing that he is not worthy of the beautiful Pew, gives all his possessions to her, which is his way of expressing his feelings. However, Pew not only takes the money but also takes Tin Sao's most treasured book. Her intention is to possess everything of Tin Sao, not just the money. This scene fully portrays the two of them pretending to be unaffected in front of each other, wanting to leave each other with some dignity. It's an excellent use of visual language. Next, the camera cuts to the two of them, staring at each other through a window. The iron bars on the window symbolize Tin Sao's inner inferiority, which is echoed in the following scene where he looks at himself in the mirror. In this scene, Tin Sao, wearing a tattered vest, contrasts sharply with the star posters on the wall. This might reflect Stephen's feelings during his early years towards Jacqueline, who was already a popular star before meeting him. Unable to suppress his emotions, Tin Sao calls out to Pew from the balcony. This is another homage to a scene between Kimura Takuya and Yamaguchi Tomoko in Long Vacation. Interestingly, Kimura and Yamaguchi were once thought to be a perfect screen couple due to their roles in Long Vacation. But in the end, Yamaguchi married Tetsuya Takeda. This could be the reason Stephen paid homage to this series to mirror him and Jacqueline. When Tin Sao says he wants to support Pew, the atmosphere reaches a climax, and Pew asks Tin Sao to first take care of his career. Her words is actually something Jacqueline says in a TV series. Perhaps Jacqueline also said the same line to Stephen privately. Just when the audience thinks Pew has rejected Tin Sao, the camera cuts to Pew in the taxi, tears streaming down her face. It turns out she has really fallen for him. This twist in the plot, through the perfect use of the camera, immerses the audience completely in their emotions. Following the emotional storyline of Pew and Tin Sao, Gwen finds Tin Sao and asks him to audition for the male lead in her new movie. At the beginning, when teaching Pew how to act, she talks about crying, and Tin Sao, despite having no tears, forces himself to hold on. This time, he projects his feelings for Pew into the audition, and the tears come naturally. It is only then that Tin Sao can be said to combine theory with practice, gaining real acting skills and successfully earning the opportunity to perform. In the film, Stephen subtly expresses this reflection through this storyline. Because Tin Sao has grown, the undercover agent allows him to take his rightful lunchbox. In the end, Tin Sao did not become the male lead because Gwen wants him to be her boyfriend. Between his career and his feelings for Pew, Tin Sao chooses Pew and loses the male lead role as a result. This is the complete opposite of Stephen's reality. None of Stephen's past girlfriends ended up with him, and this became a regret in his life. In a later interview, when asked about his own feelings, Stephen said it was all too late, subtly expressing deep regret for the love he lost. So, in the film, he made Tin Sao choose a path that was different from his own. Regarding Gwen, there is a detail that when Gwen and Tin Sao appear together in the film, they are always facing each other with no one or any item standing between them. This symbolizes the irreconcilable opposition between the two. Gwen is both Tin Sao's benefactor and the person who takes away his opportunity to be the protagonist. In reality, there was also such a person by Stephen's side, the director Wong Jing. Jing and Stephen were vastly different, but in the early 1990s, they found a balance between their interests and abilities, becoming a golden partnership. The two collaborated a total of 12 times, but parted ways due to issues regarding the division of work and money for a film. Some speculate that Gwen is a reflection of Jing, and this isn't the first time Stephen has used his films to hint at someone he had conflicts with in real life. After rejecting Gwen, the undercover cop reveals his identity and seeks Tin Sao's help, requesting his assistance in solving a case. Tin Sao, posing as a delivery man, goes to the suspect's residence. However, his identity is exposed, putting the undercover cop in danger. In this critical moment, Tin Sao uses the acting skills he had rehearsed in advance to successfully defeat the enemy and resolve the crisis. At the end of the film, Tin Sao and his friends perform a play, Thunderstorm, in the community. The ironic thing is that Thunderstorm is a tragedy, which contrasts with the title King of Comedy. I believe this metaphor is undeniable. The tragedy of King of Comedy does not actually end with the conclusion of the film. In that parallel space-time, Tin Sao and Pew's broken, shabby lives continue, and the film merely freezes their lives at a point in time that is most acceptable to us, the audience. I've always seen King of Comedy in the same league as The Shawshank Redemption, The Pursuit of Happiness, and Cinema Paradiso. If The Shawshank Redemption represents freedom and faith, The Pursuit of Happiness embodies persistence and diligence, and Cinema Paradiso signifies love in the world. Then King of Comedy conveys the themes of dreams, perseverance, and the courage to face both one's inner self and reality. The core of comedy is tragedy. Many comedians' lives aren't necessarily happy. What Tin Sao wanted wasn't just to be the leading man, but to act the way he wanted. However, in the face of a snobbish market and the film industry, his desires seemed worthless. Similarly, in reality, after Stephen experienced investment failures, broken relationships, and falling out with friends, he realized how difficult it is for small people to be themselves and achieve secular success. What's truly stopping a person from succeeding isn't the lack of hard work or intelligence, but the unwillingness to follow the rules that would erase your innocence and sharp edges. Therefore, not everyone can become Stephen, but he still holds on to his commitment to film and hope for life in his heart. These values were carried over into his later works. Life is full of losses, but persistence is victory. It asks the audience to find meaning not in grand success, but in small triumphs, in the sheer act of never giving up. Like this video, please help to click like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to my channel. Thank you.